So there was a lot of buzz going around with this episode. A lot of people wanting everyone and their mother to react to the preview for this wonderful episode. And I myself, I don't watch previews because, I'm already going to watch the episode, so why ruin the surprise? Why give myself any, assumptions of what could go down? So I didn't have any expectations other than this is going to be a big moment. And we've seen in the show, big moments don't necessarily mean character deaths or brutality. It can just be changing of everything we know about the world. So when I get introduced to the Dragon God, number 2 apparently of the 7 powers, and I learn from Man God here that even if he went up against the first strongest power, he would actually win, curses and all. I was very surprised, and I was actually surprised to see that they landed a killing blow on Rudy, because even when shit was going very, very poorly, I just couldn't see it working, right? Because either they would have to revive him or they would have to save him. There's no way. You can't do it. And honestly, had they not shown us the woman with the Dragon God here saying, hey, basically very much implying that we should probably save him for one reason or another, I probably would have fully been convinced he was on his entire death's doorstep during that conversation with the god there, because that shit was very much directed to be a final farewell. And to see the difference of Rudy's opinions in terms of looking the first time he died versus what he thought was his second time, despite being bummed out that he wouldn't be able to finish his promises, he was thankful to pretty much have even a second go at it to begin with, and it was an unfortunate thing that happened. And when I was watching the build-up, because initially what I thought was going down was that this man was blind, but very powerful. The reason being is that both Ruijerd as well as Eris froze up where Rudy didn't. So I figured there was some reason why he couldn't sense the presence, and I figured it probably was something to do with the reincarnation. But I thought the reason they were standing so still was if they don't move, basically they shouldn't be spotted or something like that. I wasn't expecting it to be that level of fear, and the reason why Rudy ended up just kind of so casually asking someone probably way too powerful some questions. I thought at first, I was this seems odd, because clearly those two are shitting their pants, and if Ruijerd is shitting his pants, it means Rudy should clue in that he shouldn't say shit. But the idea that he literally couldn't sense the devastation of this character, most likely due to the reincarnation angle, and the fact that the Dragon God Ors said Paul shouldn't have a son, only daughters, there's something going on. And it's interesting because I know there's a lot of opinions about should we trust Man God or not. And I think Rudy has pretty much the good idea right now in terms of there's some lies here going on, but at this point, really, you might have your reasons, and maybe Man God will turn out to be the most evil of scumbags. Maybe it's just going to be some form of rivalry. Maybe he'll end up being a split from this Dragon God. I don't know. I think you could probably sit for an hour throwing a bunch of things at a wall, and you might be able to get one of those to stick to what's actually happening, because otherwise you'd have to know the source material, I think, to truly predict where that section of the story wants to go. Nonetheless, there's mystery and intrigue there, so you can see how the story could very much get very complicated in a great way in a season 2's 3, 4, 5, however many seasons it needs to take. But I think just seeing Rudy and that build-up from literally their animal carrying all their equipment jumping off the cliff there, rather kill itself than be in the presence, to Rudy so casually just revealing what's going on. How quickly he bested Ruijerd, that already told me shit was about to go bad and very bad for them. But to see that Rudy, despite not having a chance, it was crystal clear he didn't have a chance. We didn't need Man God to say, no matter what happened, even if I could have warned you, you wouldn't have been able to defeat him. It was very clear, there was no chance in hell. But the fact that Rudy, despite, being on death's doorstep before even having an arm through his chest, the fact that he was able to conjure such a cool-ass spell, and then he had this almost dragon mirror. It almost felt like something like a portal that was sucking in the energy. But the fact that it actually cracked on, the bones, it kind of looked like a bone mirror is probably the best way I describe it. And the fact that, he was actually pretty impressed by it, but still was going to kill him. And the idea that he so casually is why didn't you heal your lungs and it doesn't matter anymore? And then just the impact. It's interesting because there's very much something powerful and odd about this character, because it has this weird, it almost feels like the way he was talking at times was like he hasn't met them yet, but he already knew them, almost like he can see from the past and the future and everything in between. And the fact that someone like Rudy just shouldn't exist in his timeline. I mean, there's a lot we don't know about the great powers of this world, and I think it really goes to show how much further the story has left to go, because I think it's pretty easy to see the journey of Ruijerd, Rudy, Eris, and all the other things happening, and even a giant explosion that teleported people. But when you really break down, like, what we know about the 7 great powers and Man-God himself, like, honestly, we don't know shit. We know teases, and that teases has us as confused as Rudy, but I mean, that's how you know you have a good story on your hands that can actually go for long periods of time. Often you have shows like these that have like one great mystery and they very quickly start revealing too much about it, and then in return you can probably predict the ending before you even get there. Where here you can see character arcs and predict maybe where character arcs will go, but in terms of that entire power system and scaling, like, I mean, I have no idea, and that's what makes it fun as an anime-only viewer. It was animated incredible, which is no surprise. I mean, a couple weeks back, we had Brett animated better than most fight scenes in the season. So surprised that they polished that winter scene, and it was fast, it was brutal, and it's worth watching over and over for that scene alone. But it was a mystery. It was definitely a point for Rudy, because the fact that as soon as he realized he was healed, he just hugged Eris, because he thought he was gone from her. He thought he wouldn't be able to keep his promise to her. He thought he wouldn't be able to just see her smile anymore. And the fact that in that moment of accepting his own death, just the fact that he wasn't bitter, he wasn't feeling betrayed. It was, honestly, made a mistake. And the fact that you couldn't warn me about it, I'm not going to pin the blame. If you're saying and honestly, I kind of believe that he actually doesn't know, but there clearly is a mystery about it. So I feel like either there's some form of barrier stopping him, or there's going to be another twist with that. So just the fact that Rudy wasn't blaming, he wasn't stomping around. He was like, I shouldn't have asked him questions. Shit makes a lot more sense now that you're telling me some of this information, but I'm glad at least I got as much time as I had. That's some pretty big character moment for Rudy, because he really is a different person. What are we in, 21 episodes in total of this show? There's so much development for him, and it feels like this is just the baby steps of where his character arc truly wants to go. Often when you hear so much buzz going into an episode, it really is just there's going to be a big action moment or a character's about to die. And I love how, initially when I was watching this show earlier into the episode count, when I heard about those big buzz moments, I was like, okay, someone's going to die or it's going to be a big action episode. But the fact that it's proven so many times that the buzz around this fandom doesn't mean people are just hyping up the Dragon God kicking Ruijerd's ass. It's everything about that heaven sequence, the death sequence, the moments of just Rudy showing compassion. That's what I love about this show, is how you never quite know what you're gonna get. So it's actually a lot easier not to be spoiled when people are hyping up an episode in comparison to a lot of the big shonens of the season and things like that. I mean, this show's great. I mean, I'm gonna continue not watching previews and just going into these episodes blind. I'll probably check out the preview after I'm done the video just to see what it was. But yeah, seriously, this show is incredible. It's left me near speechless. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to rewatch this specific episode quite a few times before the next one. But let me know your thoughts, feelings down below, your favorite moment. And if you are new to this series like myself, you got any idea about what Man-God might be hiding and what the relationship between the Dragon God and him might be? Leave a like if you enjoyed though, and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.